Here are some Terraria life hacks every player should know. If you want to quickly clear a body of water, make a 4x4 hole under the water with a chest that has one item, place one thing of lava in it, and finally, break the barrier and the water will disappear. If you're looking for the rarest pet in the game, you have better luck on the Celebration Secret Seed, since it will spawn 5 times more there. If you want to have the max inventory space on your player, all you need to do is get a piggy bank and put a safe inside of it. If you want to make your craftable weapons stronger for free, just throw them into Shimmer and recraft them. Something you normally can't do until a certain point in the game is get into the Jungle Temple, but if you use this setup and walk into it holding down, you'll go through the door. One easy way to slow your evil biome spread is just by beating Plantera, which will slow it by 50%. You can actually get both evil biomes in a normal world by moving the Dryad to a graveyard biome and buying both of the seeds off of her. If you're looking for an easy way to get a decent amount of money fast, one good option is to go break desert pots, since they'll drop more money than normal ones. And finally, the easiest way to get a pylon is by placing the nurse and arms dealer together in the jungle biome, which you can do pretty early into the game.
How to get every town slime in Terraria. The nerdy slime moves in after killing the king slime. The cool slime moves in during a party. The elder slime moves in after unlocking the old shaking chest in the caverns after killing Skeletron. The clumsy slime moves in after breaking a clumsy balloon slime's balloon in space. The diva slime moves in after throwing a sparkle slime balloon into the shimmer. The surly slime moves in when fished up during a blood moon. The mystic slime moves in after using purification powder on a mystic frog in the jungle. The squire slime moves in after dropping a copper helmet or a copper short sword on a slime. Also, here's
Terraria parece o Mine em 2D, os biomas são separados em 6 classes: superfície, subterrâneo no modo difícil, e os biomas especiais são as salas de tesouros, que são biomas com construções humanas igual à vila, além de microbiomas e mini-biomas. Nos biomas subterrâneos você pode encontrar 21 tipos de minérios, podendo fazer armaduras, itens e mais de 167 armas, como espadas, armas de fogo, armas de magia, chicotes e lanças. Há mais de 20 chefes para enfrentar. Alguns você tem que invocar e outros aparecem naturalmente. Eles são separados em 4 tipos no modo normal, no modo difícil, mini-chefes e chefes de eventos. Entre eles estão o Geleia Rei, Abelha Rainha, Parede de Carne, Duque Peixe Dragão, Betsy, Holandês Voador e Esqueleton Alpha, sendo o chefão final o Senhor da Lua. Ele solta a maioria dos itens no final do jogo. Existem 34 NPCs, sendo 3 animais. Eles vão aparecendo pelo progresso e servem para fazer trocas ou vendas, e se você construir uma casa para eles, não vai nascer inimigos ao redor. Também é possível fazer fardos igual ao Mine, só construir uma estrutura para os mobs nascer e ter algo para matar eles automaticamente.
This is the best money glitch in Terraria! To do this, all you need to do is make the setup I have on screen now, which is just 2 blocks with a block gap and platform in between them. After you hammer the platform into a stairs going up to the left, any crystal shards you place in there will instantly duplicate, allowing you to easily get thousands of platinum coins. And while crystal shards are the best option for money, you can also duplicate Christmas lights with it. This will work on both PC, mobile, and possibly console as well, allowing you to get rich using this glitch no matter what you play on.
The Shimmer's permanent upgrades are overpowered in Terraria. Throwing in a life crystal gives a vital crystal, which increases health regen. Throwing in a mana star gives an arcane crystal, which increases mana regen. Throwing in a life fruit gives an Aegis fruit, which increases defense. Throwing in any normal fruit gives you an ambrosia, which increases mining and building speed. Throwing in a gold worm gives you a gummy worm, which increases fishing skill. Throwing in a pink pearl gives a galaxy pearl, which increases luck. Throwing in a peddler's hat gives you a peddler's satchel, which increases items sold by the traveling merchant. Throwing in a spell tome gives you Advanced Combat Techniques Volume 2, which increases the defense and strength of all NPCs. And also,
this is the sword we never got in Terraria! Back in 2020, when the 1.4 update was coming out, Relogic was looking to add a special endgame sword that would be overpowered. And before coming up with the Zenith, their first idea for this was the first fractal, also being called the final fractal or summit. This sword's attack would cause flying, colorful swords, held by a player sprite, to attack wherever your mouse was, with it also auto-targeting onto the closest enemy. Although this sword is neat, Relogic felt like it didn't feel enough like a melee weapon, and players would sometimes confuse the first Fractal's player sprites with real players. So, they decided to scrap it and make another endgame sword, which is when the Zenith finally came into the picture. Here are the best 1.4.5 additions we know about so far. Firstly, we finally got to see what we'll be getting from Dead Cells, with there being new item lanterns, a new weapon, and a few other things as well. Next, we will be getting a Shimmer Blaster, which will let you shimmer NPCs without having to mess up your builds. Moving on to a feature people have wanted for years now, Relogic is going to try to add crossplay for all platforms in this update. Alongside the Dead Cells weapon, we also know about 4 new whips that will be in 1.4.5, with one only just recently being announced. And for the final feature I'll talk about in this video, we will most likely get to see a feature that lets you mix secret seeds into one world. And there will also be a menu to do that. This is what to do when you're bored in Terraria. Firstly, you can always build a worldwide hoik, which will let you cheese bosses easily, while also working as a great way of travel. Something else that can be pretty fun to do is to set up your own minigame courses, which you can do with mini golf and drones. If making fun things aren't up your alley, then I'd recommend making neat builds, like normal biomes in the underworld, natural structures built in places they aren't meant to be in, and NPC-themed houses. If buildings aren't your thing though, then you would probably prefer something like trying to get all of something, like the golden critters, the endless amount of banners, and much more. Speaking of trying to complete something, you should also try and go after all of the achievements in Terraria, since there are only a very small number of players that have 100% of them so far. You can also try doing special playthroughs, like class-specific runs, secret seed worlds, and much more. This is the 3D version of Terraria. About a year ago at this point, the creator I have on screen now started a hobby project to make a 3D version of Terraria, and it's looking amazing so far. While this isn't the full version of Terraria yet, as of now, it has multiple bosses, like the Eye and Brain of Cthulhu, notable weapons, like the Star Fury and Mini Shark, 6 of the NPCs, like the Guide, and much more. Besides adding things that are in Terraria today, the 3D version of Terraria also has features that were removed from Terraria, like the bunny boss Lepus, who is exclusive to the mobile versions. Something this game has that normal Terraria has never had though, is a first-person mode, and also features remixes of the original Terraria soundtracks, which is just a small touch on top of a huge list of things that are making this game look amazing. As of this video, 3D Terraria is in a private alpha, so only certain people are able to play it. But eventually, the goal is to have it as a public game anyone can play, with you being able to keep up with the game's development on the creator's YouTube channel. Here's what Christmas changes in Terraria. Just like Halloween season, there's also a Christmas season, from December 15th to December 31st, and it changes a few things. Firstly, the slimes, zombies, and bunnies will all have a Christmas-themed look, alongside the hearts and mana stars also having a Christmas theme to them. Most of these Christmas-themed mobs won't drop anything new, but the present slime will, with them dropping the giant bow. All enemies will also have a 1 in 13 chance to drop a present, which has the chance to give you a ton of items, like one of the rarest pets in the game, and a Kenny vanity set. This is also when you can get the Santa NPC to move in, with him selling various items, like Christmas lights, which can be used in the Crystal Shard duplication glitch for easy money. And speaking of money, there's also 5 paintings that the traveling merchant will only sell during this time, alongside the painter doing the same, with 10 Christmas-themed walls. And even though the Christmas event is only for a short time, you can start it anytime by changing your device's date, or have it for a single day by beating the 15th wave of the Frost Moon. This is what Terraria's beta looked like. Firstly, you only had one option for your evil biome, which was this corruption with an orange background. Another thing different from the world is the jungle biome, which is only underground in the beta. As for floating islands, they will have their buildings made out of ore, and there's also a chance you can get 2 islands mixed into each other. Going to the underworld now, this version didn't have the buildings you normally see there, so it's just lava with the occasional chest. Next, there's only a few NPCs in this version, but most of them will have sprites we never saw again, like the Dryad, the Arms Dealer, the Merchant, and the Old Man. Besides that, there's a few items that ended up changing later on, like the Blade of Grass having this sprite originally, the Volcano originally having this sprite while being called the Fiery Greatsword, and a few others as well. And finally, this version also had the original version of the Zapinator, which was an insta-kill weapon used by the developers for testing purposes.